There's a place, a school, an institution where a professor resides. Listen to words of Professor Buitron.
Wishing everybody a great week. We're just around the corner from New Year's. And I got a question last night, which was very important. It was, how young do you accept a child to go into Savate? Well, and that question will probably lead into 2-3 other questions for folks that are out there looking to place their kids into martial arts and so on and so forth. Is number one, I'm going to talk about the state of Texas. Okay, I'm not talking about martial arts in general, because there's martial arts schools here that accept them at 2 years old and 3 years old and 4 years old, and parents expect them to be black belts by the age of 5. Savate is not your Eastern martial art. It does not have that. It does have ranking. You know, people do not understand the ranking of Savate, which should start off with nothing. Then it's blue, green, red like a black belt in karate, especially in Dan Ru's Savate system. In Boxe Française Savate, I'll be a yellow. Then it's white, yellow, then silver, then there's 3 levels of silver glove. I'm a silver third. I was given a silver third in 96. Okay, 1996. Took the exam, passed it. Okay, it's a different story. But what a lot of people do not understand about teaching kids Savate or Boxe Française Savate is that Savate or Savate Boxe Française sports fall underneath the Department of Licensing and Regulation of Texas, the Boxing Commission. And USA Savate does fall into that. So in the state of Texas, the age that we accept a saboteur is the age of 8, just like regular boxing. A parent brings them in. So how do you start them off? Well, number one, hopefully the child is not pushed into it, because that hinders a lot. You have a lot of parents that push their kids into martial arts, and the kids don't want to be in martial arts. And they give martial art school, they give the instructor a bad name because, he wasn't able to teach them, so on and so forth. The kid just doesn't want to do it, period. It has to come from you. In Savate and its associate disciplines, it's a combative sport. You want to have it from within. I'm not saying that you are going to learn it, that you can't learn it, that you can't be good with it, but you're going to have to want it. Plain and simple. How do you start them off? Well, number one, what I do when they come in is I tell them, I tell parents, you need their equipment. You need wrestling shoes if you can find them. Don't use boxing shoes. Boxing shoes have a different flat. It's a different sport, has a different sole. That since you're going to be kicking with your shoes, you can cut somebody. Abrasions occur. Boxing gloves. Make sure they have boxing gloves for themselves. Do not bring MMA gloves. Do not bring bag gloves. Bring boxing gloves. Do not bring Taekwondo helmets. Bring boxing gloves. Do they need a helmet? Do they need shin guards? No. If it's a male, they're just going to need a groin protector. That's the basic equipment that a child needs for Savate. You have to understand the philosophy and the pedagogy of Savate Boxe Française in comparison to the other arts. It is very scientific. There's a lot of formulas. You have to start out formulas. You have to build them up correctly for it to go towards the end, for you to have a great saboteur at the end round, right? So the first thing I will tell them is, number one, tuck your chin. Pick your hands up. Make sure your hands are right here. Make sure your thumbs are up. Make sure you have this stance. If you have a kid that has his hands down joking around, well, more likely that child does not want to be here. You can't change them. Eventually they might change. Yet I've had kids that come in and sit down and watch the first class and then leave 4 years later. And I've had kids that come in here and say, just jump in and start doing it and leave the following week. It happens. Okay, not everybody is for boxing, not everybody is for box and Savate. But I tell parents the following: make sure that your child is in agreement with you before you place them into class. Number one. Second, give the training some time. Do not expect in 1 month for your child to be Bruce Lee or Van Damme or one of those, Jackie Chan or one of those individuals, because that's time. They took a long time to become that, okay? Do not expect a black belt. Savate doesn't have black belts. So understand those motions. Understand the martial art that you're bringing them in. Understand that this is a combative sport, and this takes time. And this not only takes time, it takes patience and it takes determination. The child does not drive, and if he doesn't live close to the school, the parent has to bring them in. That's when you lose the child's motivation, because a lot of parents all of a sudden don't want to come in. They say, you know what, I'd rather go to happy hour. You know what, I'd rather go outside and drink a couple of some beer with the folks outside, look at like garden gnomes. I had one kid that was phenomenal. His grandmother used to tell me, the class is during my soap opera. Well, what's your problem? I'm not going to bring them during the time of my soap opera. I can drop them off to you at 4 o'clock and you take care of them, and I'll pick them up at 9 o'clock at night. And you're like, no, ma'am, you know, it's a set time frame. There's reasons for scheduling. It's called discipline. They're learning a discipline, so you all need to push that in there. If a child is giving 100%, the parent has to give 250. If the child's giving 100% and the parent is giving 10%, you're going to lose that child. So parents, the question: you enrolled your child into a class. It's up to you to take them to class, because your attitude will reflect on your child. Till next time, peace. And remember, boxing gloves, Converse shoes, or wrestling shoes.
Come train at the best kept secret of Laredo, Buitron Academy, 956-401-4868, savate.biz.